This podcast, Spotlight for Success, is our way of highlighting the incredible success stories happening in education right here in our home state of Georgia. Today, we're thrilled to be joined by Kristen Singleton, who has made a significant impact in the field of social studies education through her work with the Mighty 8th Air Force Museum outside of Savannah. We'll be exploring her journey, insights, and positive changes she's creating for students and teachers in her work. So let's get started.
Yes. I do work at the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force,
Okay.
but we can absolutely just call it the Mighty 8th for the rest of this. No problem.
Yes, great. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah.
How did you start, and how did you end up working with the Museum of the Mighty 8th?
Thank you. So I went to Armstrong State, which is now part of Georgia Southern in Savannah, Georgia, for my undergrad in history. And while I was there, I started volunteering as part of the Mighty 8th. And I just really grew attached to their story, what were they trying to do. And then when I graduated school and went into my master's program and started focusing on public history specifically, I have a major passion for education, specifically in the museum field. And
Wonderful.
how can museums aid teachers? How can museums work with students? So my specialty has always been working in student programming and what can we provide teachers inside the museum.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I understand your role is you're the HSTEM coordinator, is that right?
Yes, HSTEM educator, so history and STEM. So the idea is that recently we have received a wonderful grant through the Cynthia Lake Foundation, and this is providing us an opportunity to expand our educational programming, and the focus is including the interdisciplinary work between history and STEM, which is one of the things that our county, Chatham County, is actually working on trying to do a lot of is this interdisciplinary work. So that's why we're starting it, but the hope is that we can expand this throughout the state.
Wow, that is wonderful work.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've heard of history plus STEM.
Yes.
So I'm really interested in finding out more about that.
Yeah.
Now, you're here at the Georgia Council of Social Studies.
Yes.
So Kristen, what are you hoping to get out of this experience here this weekend?
This is the first time that a lot of teachers are hearing about us, and that is okay. The idea is that we want this as an opportunity to start talking about HSTEM and having teachers think about it. And we have had teachers that have swung by our booth and have said that, oh, that's really interesting. I didn't know that there was anything like this, but realization struck that they've been looking for this program. And we're one of the first people, at least in this state, to provide something like that. So this is really exciting for us.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I had just heard from Dr. Rhonda, who
Yeah.
spoke about her passion for place-based education.
Yes.
And it seems like this is part of that work.
Hey, it's Tony DeSario, Director of Sales and your Georgia Senior Account Executive for the American Book Company. I am here where all the magic happens, ABC Central in Woodstock, Georgia. This is the place, our production center, where we produce the amazing books that keep us #1 in supplemental resources across Georgia. Why are we #1? Because our books are simple to use. And, as always, they're 100% aligned to Georgia's standards, which is most important. Here at ABC, it's our job to support our teachers, our students, and especially our families across the state of Georgia, and we do it with pleasure and pride. Thank you so much. Have an amazing time.
So the 8th Air Force was formed during World War II. It was formed on January 28th, 1942 in Savannah, Georgia. So the 8th Air Force is actually a massive part of Georgia's military history,
Wow.
which is part of some of the Georgia standards as well. So we are very integral to that. And the 8th Air Force flew during World War II and was significant in the role of the war. So this is something that a lot of students, there's a lot of interest in World War II, but they
Yes.
might not have heard of this story specifically.
No.
So it's an engaging story. It's interesting. It is place-based because we are right near where we started, and it's just And now we are exploring history through a new way. By looking at history through this STEM lens, students are very interested in it.
That's wonderful. We thank our military for their service, but
Absolutely.
this is an opportunity to understand their service and really that sacrifice and those gifts that they gave to all of us.
Absolutely. And remembrance is a part of our mission, so we do want to remember our World War II veterans, our 8th Air Force veterans specifically. The 8th Air Force actually lost 26,000 men during the war.
Wow.
It was an incredibly deadly portion of the war. They were the first men to really be involved in the physical conflict of the war.
Okay.
And the early parts of the war were so dangerous, the men were assigned 25 missions. And the likelihood of making it past the 13th mission was less than 25% at the beginning of the war. So most of the men that started the war ended up as POWs or KIA. So it's a really, again, a very pivotal part of the story. And ultimately, the efforts of the 8th Air Force led to the D-Day invasion and the costly but the successful mission of the D-Day invasion, which is, again, another Georgia standard. So it's just, the 8th Air Force is really an interesting way to weave into social studies history.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, Kristen, thank you so much for coming on with us here at ABC Spotlight for Success and being part of the Georgia Council for Social Studies.
Thanks for interviewing.
And thank you. I hope you have a successful conference and look forward to you presenting next year.
I'm really hoping. I'm really excited to be here next year. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. All right, bye.